Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about The Power, which is a British ghost story set in the 1970s about a nurse who is basically working her first shift at a hospital during, and it's the night shift during rolling blackouts.
Yeah.
Basically, nurse stuck in a hospital while everything's pitch black is basically kind of what you have there. It is also a Shudder original movie that just hit Shudder. So if you don't have Shudder, you are missing out.
All right, now I feel like I should say this right out of the gate. If you're like, ghost movie in a hospital, fuck, another one of these. No, this one's real good.
This one is fantastic.
This one's real good.
I do have to issue a warning though, and I swear my fellow gorehounds, I am not intentionally picking these movies out because they have this, but the movies I've been watching lately have all kind of had some element of this, and that's the fact that this movie, the main character of this movie, she experiences traumatic flashbacks to a period of time in which she was sexually assaulted. So she is metaphorically haunted by her past, and it is sexual trauma in her past.
That's a much nicer way than I would have said it. See, I would have said, it's rape!
Yes. So she is haunted by that while we literally have a haunting happening in a hospital that she is working at.
Yeah.
I do want to make clear, though, that even though that's in there, the actual rape is never put on screen.
Oh, no.
Just implied, like, the before and afters, basically.
The fact that it happened in the aftermath.
Yeah.
That's all it's really shown.
And the only reason why I'm telling you that is that just in case you're a person who's just not in the headspace to watch that, but you normally like ghost stories, either prepare yourself before you go in or avoid it altogether, whichever you're more comfortable with. But that all being said, this is a fantastic ghost story.
So we hope you'll watch it.
We hope so. It's fantastic. It's a really good ghost story. It's definitely one of the best ones I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I was ready for this thing to just suck on toast.
Oh yeah. It's very easy to make a shitty ghost story. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies where you definitely have the slow building ghost story going on. So like you have like the small little things that happen at the very beginning, and then by the end of it, everything's going apeshit. So hang in there if you're the kind of person who just wants to get to the apeshit. Don't worry, it will happen.
Yeah,
just wait for it. About halfway through, things start to turn that way. I also like that this is just on a script and like structural level. This movie is so fantastically constructed.
Oh yeah.
Like every little detail in the very beginning comes back in some way, either as it turns out it was foreshadowing or it metaphorically connects to something that will happen later, or is a piece of information that you understand in one context, but then when you get to the end of the story, it now takes on a different context.
Yeah.
So it's important, but just not in the way you thought it was important.
Yeah.
And for that reason, this is actually a very good movie to watch twice. I actually watched it twice, once on my own and then once with Jack.
Yeah.
And the second time, I was picking up on all these little details in the very beginning that set up what happens at the end. And I had picked them up the first time around, but I didn't register or connect with what they could possibly mean.
Yeah.
Until I watched it the second time. And I'm like, oh shit, she said that thing. Oh man, like there's a lot of that.
Someone's always trying to control you.
And on top of that, this movie's spooky as shit.
Yeah. One warning, it does not...
How to put it?
There is a period of time when you're going to wonder if the main character is insane.
Oh yeah. It's
hallucinating.
Definitely...
There is a ghost and it's making shit up. All that's answered.
Yeah.
All that's answered.
You will get answers one way or another. There's definitely a little bit of that turn of the screw kind of question happening at one point.
Yeah. But unlike the end of Turn of the Screw, like, they're just like, no. These things definitely were real.
Here's your answer right here.
Here's your answer. Bam.
100%. Which is also why you should pay attention, because the answer will make most sense if you put certain details together.
If you're gonna watch this movie while also looking at your phone, don't do that.
No, because like when I watched this the first time around, I actually had a friend that was like texting me while I was watching it, and so I would occasionally have to like respond or whatever. I wish I hadn't done that, because watching it the second time around, just my eyes glued to the screen, picked up so much that I missed the first time around, and so like definitely pay close attention. I also recommend, and I don't know if this was just our TV, but we don't always have this problem, so I don't think it's just our TV, but this is a really darkly lit movie.
Oh yeah, it's like a lot of it's lit by candlelight.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it kind of has a little bit of that like The Witch vibe in that way.
Yeah.
Because it's trying to be period accurate to what it looked like in the dark at that time. So you don't have like industrial lights blasting anything at any point in time. So I would highly recommend watching this in the dark. Just turn every light off and just sit there and watch it in the dark. It will make it scarier, yes, but you'll also be able to see more shit.
You'll be able to see more. Because,
and there is things to see. Keep paying attention, keep looking in the background. There are things that you might not realize are there.
And I was really glad that the movie actually do that.
Yeah.
To give you time to absorb things in the picture.
Oh yeah. It would occasionally have a moment, like there's one jump scare in particular where I actually had to pause and go back to see the thing, because it misdirected me too well. There's a jump scare in which the camera kind of has this one space over in one direction, and so like my eyes were over there instead of paying attention to her head, but it was actually like right behind her head on the other side.
Yeah,
the spooky thing that appeared.
Yeah. They trick you.
I was just like, oh man, they actually misdirected me too well there, because I actually had to go back to see it.
Yeah, that's that classic camera misdirection, like in like fucking Rosemary's Baby. It's like, quick, get everyone to do this.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And it's really good. So yeah, if you like ghost stories, I highly recommend The Power. It is an intense movie, and it's about some fucked up shit. However, I contend it has a very hopeful conclusion.
It does.
So,
it does, in my opinion. I agree with that.
If you can sit through like all the trauma we're kind of dealing with leading up to the ending, when you get to the end, you're gonna feel pretty satisfied in a good way.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I'm not sure what else we can talk about before we get to the spoilers.
So, well, let's just get to it then.
All right. We watched it on Shudder. It is a Shudder original movie. I do not know if it's available on other platforms, but I do know it's on Shudder, so go watch it there. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
Okay, first major spoiler, Ghost is real.
Yes, Ghost is 100% real.
Yeah, because for like the good 2/3 of the movie is basically you trying to figure out whether there's actually a ghost or not.
Because the main character is obviously dealing with the trauma of what she experienced when she was a kid. Basically, long story short, she grew up in one of those nun-run orphanages where there was like a priest and nuns and shit. She grew up in one of those orphanages. Headmaster raped her, and no one believed her. She retracted her statement about that happening, and now everyone thinks she was a liar who's just doing it for attention.
Yeah.
But we know that it's not just that, because she keeps having nightmares of being in that closet with the headmaster.
Yeah.
You don't see what he does to her, but you know what the implication is.
Yeah.
And so because she keeps having those flashes every time it's dark, because the dark reminds her of it, because it was a dark closet, you're not sure, especially in the first half of this movie, whether any of the spooky shit she's actually experiencing, or if it's all in her head.
Yeah.
You're not entirely sure.
Yeah, there are even some reactions where you're trying to figure out whether or not her reactions are justified, because you're like, all right, that guy's being creepy, but is he being that level of creepy? It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell until they let you in on the fact that the ghost is real.
Exactly. There's also a lot of moments where it's possible she could just be having an episode. Like, we see one of the first things that happens when she's in the hospital. She's like in an elevator going to one of the floors, and this one like janitor dude tries to like put his hand up her skirt.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so she's a sexual assault victim, and that just happened to her. It's entirely possible that from this point forward, she's just having a fucking panic attack.
Yeah. Because sometimes we don't even see what she sees.
Exactly. And some of the things like the ghost is doing, like there's a point in which the ghost seems to be like lifting up her skirt, or just like blowing air in her face. Like the lifting up the skirt, that could just be her like once again having like a hallucinatory like moment thinking about the headmaster.
Right.
And the blowing shit in her face could just be vents.
Yeah.
You're not sure.
Yeah.
You're not entirely sure. But it does seem intense enough to where you think that maybe the ghost is real, but the movie does confirm.
Yeah,
the ghost is real.
The movie does confirm that the ghost is real. Well, like the other thing, the one thing that the movie implies that it doesn't absolutely confirm, but seems to be the case, is that she's also psychic.
Yeah, the thing is that, okay, I'm gonna get to the core spoiler here. So if you don't want to be spoiled, stop right now. Basically, what it turns out is happening in this haunted hospital is there is a little girl. She is haunting the hospital. And she is haunting the hospital because she was burned alive in the boiler room.
Yeah.
And the reason why she was burned alive is to dispose of her because one of the doctors raped her.
Yep.
So she and the main character have a connection as a result of their shared trauma, which it turns out is why she and the ghost seem to be able to connect so well. Like, she's able to actually see and feel the things the ghost is doing. To the point where, halfway through the movie, the ghost just straight up possesses her.
Yeah.
She ends up getting possessed by the ghost, but what I really like is that, like, up until you get to the very end of the movie, you're trying to figure out, because you don't know yet about, like, the rape of the ghost, or why the ghost died, or what's going on.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going on.
Because you have no clue, you're not sure if the ghost means harm to her or the other little girl that she befriends in the hospital.
Yeah, and the answer is no.
The
ghost is trying to help them. It's just
the reason why the
ghost, and so it's weird.
The reason why the ghost is acting out is because it wants to protect the other little girl that the main character befriends. So you have the main character, little girl she befriends, and little ghost girl that is trying to protect both of them.
Yeah.
And is using her connection to main character to possess her and have her do things. Do things like gouging out the eyes of a nurse that it turns out actually did see and know about the rapes and did nothing.
Yeah.
And burn alive the guy that specifically burned her alive to dispose of the body on behalf of the doctor that did it to her. And a bunch of other shit.
Yeah. And the very end of the movie is them killing the head of the hospital.
Yep. Okay. This is what's so great when I talk about how well this movie's constructed, because very early on in the movie, she has a conversation with I don't know what you call her, the matron?
The matron, yeah.
Who basically is the headmaster of the nurses. And she tells her at one point when she's scolding her, as a nurse, you must give all of yourself to your patients.
Yeah.
And I love that because when I first heard that, I just thought it was her being too hard on the main character. But then as the movie goes on, that's literally what she ends up doing.
Yeah. She literally gives everything up so that the ghost can
possess her.
Yeah.
There's another exchange with another nurse in which the nurse tells her, you got to be real careful in this hospital. There's always someone trying to control you.
Yeah.
And what I like about this is that this has a twofold meaning. Number one, the ghost ends up possessing her and controlling her body. Which leads to a lot of exchanges of like, you can't use my body, you can't control my body. So This is 100% possession as rape metaphor.
Despite the fact that the ghost in question is actually not.
Oh yeah, well that's kind of the reveal to her, because it turns out everything the ghost is doing with her body is it's trying to show her and tell her what happened to her because no one would listen.
Yeah.
and the ghost has no way of actually telling her. So it's like getting like there's this weird point where she goes through like one of those possession scenes where she's like contorting and like screaming and all that stuff. And it turns out the scene when she's doing that, she's actually contorting specifically in the way that the doctor contorted the young girl.
Yeah.
When he raped her. So she is actually showing her what happened to him, and she doesn't realize it till later, till she has the actual dream of that. And then like it puts together that it was the same thing she was trying to tell her. And like there's also why she carved "listen" into her stomach at one point in the movie.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of the movie is that no one will listen to us.
Yeah.
And that includes the main character because no one listened to her.
Yep.
In fact, they convinced her to lie and say it didn't happen.
Yep. Yep.
And this culminates in the most beautiful fucking on-the-nose moment, but I love it. And that's when the three girls are all in the basement with the doctor that did the raping, and the ghost repossesses the main character, and main character says, "You will listen to us," and then Banshee screams into his face until he gets like fucking ring killed.
Yeah.
You know, like how in the Ring they have that like shocked face.
Yeah.
He gets like ring killed, and we cut to him on the floor all dead, and I'm just like, oh yeah, you will listen to us, and just screaming in his face that was just
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And there's also another great example of like small little cool foreshadowing is that the main character has this necklace, and the necklace is like one of those little like nesting dolls.
Yeah.
There's like a girl and there's a little girl inside the girl, and there's a point when she shows the necklace to the little girl she befriends in the hospital, and it's like, hey, look, there's a little girl inside of a little girl, which is foreshadowing the fact that she will have a girl inside of her.
Yeah. Possession.
But she also passes off that necklace to the little girl because the three of them, the ghost, the little girl that is not dead, and the main character are all connected by their shared trauma. So ultimately in the end, and then the movie ultimately ends with them teaming up together, calling the headmaster of the whole hospital, not the matron, but the guy above her. Because early on in the movie, he lied about the fact that little girl ever was there.
Yep.
And we know he's lying because when he says it, like the head matron is just like...
Yeah, the head matron who's been the biggest fucking bitch the entire movie.
She gives him this look like, what?
What?
Like, of course Gail was here. Like, of course she was a thing here. She doesn't say anything, but she gives him a look and it says everything.
Yeah.
So he gets a call, and they say that like they basically give like this cryptic call that's kind of like the end of the fucking Matrix.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, everywhere you go in the darkness, we will be there. We will find you. You will hear us. You will have to listen. And it ends with him leaving his office, like seeing the darkness ahead in the hallway because they're still in the rolling blackout. Him walking into the hallway, and then you hear them screaming, and then credits.
Yeah.
So, in the end, it's a very happy ending.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fuck
everything works out in the end.
It's a ghost story that by the end of it turns into I Spit on Your Grave. Like, I don't know what to
With a ghost. Pretty good.
And I swear, I'm not intentionally picking out these movies. They just happen to be the movies that these streaming platforms have put on them.
Oh my god, it's almost like we're one production cycle away from an event in which a bunch of people fucking were talking about rape.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew post Me Too people would make Me Too horror movies? Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I also like that the period setting this in the 70s allows them to really, really go into both the gender politics aspect, a little bit separate from our current world by setting it in a period, but it also goes into the racial aspect a little bit because there's a lot of fucking weird racial stuff happening.
Yeah. On top of the class element, because it's in Britain.
Yep.
Like, because the reason that the blackout is happening is there's a general strike.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, this general strike is putting this woman in a bad position.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
it's on her side.
It's on her side.
And that's also foreshadowed too by the beginning of the movie where there's the exchanges with the nurses where they're just like, oh, are you going to come to the union meeting? And the one nurse is just like, it's going to do nothing for you or whatever. In the end, like, it's on your side.
Yeah, on your side.
I also, another moment of foreshadowing I fucking love. Oh yeah, this moment. Because I did not catch this the first time around because I was checking my phone. There's a point in which she gets lost in the hospital and she runs across two of the nurses that are taking care of the children that are left in the hospital, like the babies. Basically, babies of mothers that just gave birth, but the mothers are still in intensive care.
Yeah.
So they're taking care of the babies. She runs across them, and one of them is reading a Stephen King book.
Yeah.
I didn't catch this, and it's just like, oh, why are you always reading that filth? And she's just like, well, it's about a girl who's had enough and burns it all down. I think you can relate.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well. So she's reading Carrie, and yes, I think it's very apt given how this movie concludes.
Yes.
Like, this movie is just so well constructed, and it's creepy, and it's spooky, and goddamn, this movie, okay, I said this with Violation too, this movie has 100% a good for her ending.
Oh yeah, definitely. It does.
So yeah, if anything we've said so far has sounded like something that you want to watch, you should definitely check it out, because The Power, ask for it by name. Also, that title has two meanings. A, the power outage that's happening over the course of the movie, and B, the bad guy at the end of the movie basically revealing that he rapes people because power.
Yeah. And yeah, the powers that be.
And also all the power dynamics that happen leading up to that over the course of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, you have the matron, who is a woman, who, not only a woman of color.
Yeah.
Who has fought her way up to the top of where they could possibly be as nurses, but is still subservient to the whims of the men.
Yep. Yep. Whole thing's about power structures.
You know, or like even the nurse that's really the nurse that gets her eyes gouged out, like her whole thing where she's like being blackmailed by the not janitor but the groundskeeper guy.
Yeah, the weird custodian dude.
Yeah, because we see a janitor early on in the movie, but this guy seems to be more about like repair.
Yeah.
You know, like he's the guy who like fixes lights and shit. And like that guy, like you basically get this heavy implication. They don't say it outright, but you get the implication that like he basically lures nuns into sexual situations and photographs them and then holds it over their heads later.
Yeah.
It's heavily implied he's got like a wall of photographs and things like that, and some of them are compromising and some of them are just rating the women based on how hot he finds them.
Yeah.
You don't feel bad when this guy gets burned alive.
No, you don't feel bad for him at all.
The only thing you feel bad about is that because it happens in these weird flashes when she's possessed, you wish you could just see it full on.
Yeah. Although the one nurse who falls out of the fucking window, that's painful but funny at the same time.
That was funny. Well, because you had twofold problem. A, she was injected with the fucking thing that's supposed to put you to sleep, so she was already not fully like.
Yeah, she's already like half paralyzed.
Yeah, and on top of that, she's a heavy woman trying to crawl down the pipe.
Yeah, doesn't go well.
It's not going to end well.
Doesn't go well. She survives. It just doesn't go well.
And I was glad that she survived, even though she like.
Well, I think killing that character would have been too harsh.
Yeah,
it would have been too harsh for the type of movie.
Her biggest sin is referring to the Indian girl as an animal. That's
yeah.
Like I said, there's some racial stuff going on here because it's not just white people being racist to non-white people. There's non-white people being racist to other types of non-white people.
Yeah. Although just strangely enough, one of the most easily relatable people is this one nurse who's just like, nope, I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. I'm done. That's it. There's ghosts. I'm out.
And again, because this movie kind of tackles the system of this hospital, who benefits from all these power conflicts? The white guy.
White guy. Yeah. It's kind of like it's a very well constructed metaphor.
Yeah. It's very well done. Very well done. Highly recommend it. And I don't know what else to say, so where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me in your nightmares. But you can also find me on Twitter, Count_Jackula, at Twitch, also Count_Jackula. Sorry.
You almost said Jerkula.
Almost said Jerkula, yeah. Yeah, you can find me at Count_Jackula at Twitter and on Twitch, where I stream at least twice a week on Thursday and Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Why am I having trouble saying that? It's not like I don't say it a million times.
Because we nailed it in the last vlog, and because we're recording this right afterwards, we're now starting to fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
Because that means, like, I don't know how long this vlog's going to be, but we've probably been at this for like 3 hours.
Something like that,
Yeah.
yeah. I've been at this for a little bit. All right, and then you can find me at Satan Jackula on Instagram. Go follow me there. Bam.
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema and I'll be there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Remember that these videos do better the more engagement they get, so like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you would like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way.
It helps keep these vlogs going.
They keep them going, as well as the Blood Splattered Cinemas, which I am currently working on the one that should have been out last month. It'll happen. It'll happen. I promise. Promise. I'm getting this channel back into gear, as you noticed from all the content I've been uploading recently. I'm trying to get back into gear.
It's been and what a year it's been though.
We're only
you would think,
April.
Yeah. Well, you would think like, oh, hey, you have nothing to do but like be inside. Of course, you're going to be super productive, except for the fact that we're constantly stressing out about like, well, how many people are dead now?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and now
kind of a problem.
And now we're on that weird shaky point of this pandemic where we're waiting to be approved for like our shots.
Yeah.
And we're not sure when that's going to happen, so it's constantly saying, "Oh, do we qualify now? Do we qualify now?"
Yeah. Also, there's kind of the fear of fucking up the dismount.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like
Everyone,
I'm like, hey, things are better. I should go outside. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Exactly. So, yeah, we've been dealing with that. But, getting more content on this channel, I hope you guys appreciate that. And new Blood Splattered Cinema, a proper Blood Splattered Cinema, will be happening soon, I assure you. And with that said, peace out, and we'll catch y'all later.
Oh no, the power went out.
Son of a bitch!